Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tabletop Unboxing. And for this episode, I'll be reviewing one of the newer board games that have come out in the past few weeks. Things are gonna get intense. Alright, so without any further ado, the game I'm reviewing today is called... Vault of the Dragons! Oh, look at this, it's amazing. Think of this, you've finished your job. It's like 8 hours of work, maybe 9 to 5, and then you're like, I'm gonna go down, have some dinner, then I'm gonna go home and play my awesome new board game that I paid 80 euros for, or 60 euros for. It's called Vault of the Dragons, amazing art. There's gonna be fierce conflicts, hidden treasures. It's gonna be amazing. It's also made by it's based on Dungeons and Dragons, published by Wizards of the Coast, the same company who bought us great games such as Lords of Waterdeep and Tyrants of the Underdark. And now you read it and you're just getting your appetite satiated. It's like rumors of hidden vault of gold circulate through the streets, taverns, and markets of Waterdeep in the Vault of Dragons. Each player chooses one of the 4 unsavory fractions racing to locate the secret of the vault. Sinister criminals, devilish nobles, mercenary drolls, and mysterious wizards are all competing to be the first to find the Vault of the Dragons. Send your followers to locations in and around Waterdeep to search for rumors and treasure. Explore the dungeons of Undermount to find the secret of the Vault of Dragons. And look at this, it's amazing. Well, the setup is beautiful. And that's where things they stop getting good. Now, the game isn't bad. However, trying to figure out how to play it is a whole different story. Alright, so without any further ado, let's get right in it. And you're just gonna start opening up the first page, and you're thinking, alright, this is easy enough, isn't it? Is there any red flags here? I don't know. Let's see here. 12 double-sided locations. Everything seems to be in order. 9. Yawning Portal. Everything's here. Treasure cards, magic cards. And then you read this part. And it says, Vault of Dragons uses 2 denominations of Waterdeep currency. Dragon tools and tolls. Gold dragons are worth 1 gold. Square tolls are worth 2 gold. Wait. So one of these is worth 2 of these. 1 of this, 2 of this. Huh. Now, I know this isn't a major concern for you, but I'm just thinking, why would you need anything to represent a 2 inside any game? Why is it so hard to grab 2 things? It's like, oh, you know what? You're gonna be like a lazy bastard. It's kind of like, oh my god, I don't really want to grab those 2 over there. Oh man. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna take one of these. And it's like, you know what, in my personal opinion, this should have been represented as a 5. Because, then it makes sense. Because then there's 5 of this, because instead of the currency, you can buy things like one warrior costs 1 gold, a rogue costs 2, a wizard costs 3, and you're like, okay, here's my 6 gold. Here you go. I'll take my things now. But no. So inside the game setup, it's fairly straightforward, isn't it? Like, you look at this picture and you set it up, knowing what the hell's going on, and you're like, okay, beautiful. There's 12 towns tiles. There's 1 of each of the player tiles, and there's the Yawning Tavern, dungeons, vault. You're like, okay, that sounds easy enough, right? You place it all and you're done. And then you read the rules. And then you're like, okay, everyone starts with 10 gold and 5 actions. And let me tell you something. Inside this game, you can use certain tiles to represent action. You see these? See these? When you're done with an action, you flip it over, and then it's like, it's used. That's easy to know, right? Okay, I want to get 1 gold on my action. Flip. Okay, use. Get my gold. There you go. And now, you count it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 here. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you look at this picture, and trust me, there's a reason for my madness. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 action tiles here. None of them have been used at all on any of these. Now, this seems like a minor issue, right? Like, the game just can't be represented accurately in a picture. Not all the time, anyway. There's bound to be mistakes, right? Given the benefit of the doubt. It's not like they can use it anywhere major as well. It's like, okay, we can just look at this, and it's like, okay, there's 3 here, then one guy used his one over here on the main box, 4 here, and you're thinking this is 4. what this tells me is that it's not just an error. It's like no one really knows how to play this game. Not even the people who were writing this rulebook knew how to play this game. So now I'm gonna explain to you exactly how the game works. The game is broken up into 4 different phases. Easy enough. It's like players take their turns, their actions, so once all actions are done, we move on to the next phase. We take our rewards from locations, if we're the only one there, then there's to follow rumors, and then refresh and reset. That's all basic stuff. But my point over here is in Section 2, gonna use my lawyer talk now. You take the rewards, and you see here, you get this top right-hand corner at the end if you were to control the area. So in this particular case, you get to keep a rumor. In some locations, noted over here, dangerous locations. So if you read it, some locations are hazardous, with casualty dice pictured in addition to the rewards. Where there is a casualty die pictured with the reward, suffer the casualty first. Before taking the reward, if all of your followers on the location are killed, do not take a reward. Makes sense, right? So you see this picture, and you think, alright, so this is a treasure chest, so the dangerous location has to be this thing. This thing denotes the dangerous location. It's just, you put 1 and 1 together, why would they put a picture over here that doesn't match this? Aha! But that's where you're wrong, my friend. Let's see here. I will show you... Okay, so this is an example of a card. What it really means is that if you're playing your first game, or your second game, or you're just getting a feel for how the mechanics work and you just want to ease it into it, this is an easy mode. Put all the tiles face up, bam, bam, bam. So 12 tiles faced up, dragon side. That does not mean danger. This means danger. This is the casualty dice. And I know if you read through the entire rulebook, you'll figure it out. But this is only... Let me see here. This is only page 5. See, this is casualty dice. And it's like one small little thing of the game components that you're probably just going to skim over anyway. And by the time you get all the way to page 5, you're wondering, okay, so what the fuck? What the actual fuck is this? This must mean danger. And it's really confusing. Because as you read on through the rules, it sets a preface. You're thinking, okay, you have to roll casualty dice. And you're thinking, oh, wait, I don't see any dragon dice anywhere. Then you move back and you're like, oh, right, so they don't actually mean dragon is danger. They just mean, we just put the wrong image there. It's like, let me see here. This is the guy reading the rulebook, writing the rulebook, and this is the executive. And the executive is all like, alright, man, you know what'd be really funny? What, sir? Alright, so do you know how to play the game? Not really, you're meant to be telling me, sir. It's like, okay, so take this picture. take this particular picture and put it next to the dangerous location. Is that a dangerous location, sir? Yes. And you just think, okay, maybe just the first couple of pages are like not the best representation of this game. Maybe it's a little confusing. But as we go on, things get less confusing, right? Oh, but just you wait to the next part. This is the Yawning Portal. In order to get to any one of these dungeons, you must go first to the Yawning Portal. You'll get this, then you take a random one of these, and you flip it over. Then you're like, okay, now I need a 7 to get this and this. It's cumulative, so you get this as well. You roll a 15, right? And like, this is a pretty hard one. This is probably not going to be inside your first game through, or first playthrough of the dungeons. This will be in your second one. And then you roll it, and if you were to win, you will get to keep this. These are called secrets. Secrets are both a merit and a detriment. Because you see over here, when you are fighting inside the dungeon, you must roll 1 casualty dice, or die. And depending on how many skulls are there, you lose that many troops. The more secrets you have, the more casualty dice you roll. So let's say I have 4 secrets. That means I have to roll, in addition to this, 4 more casualty dice. So I have to roll 5 dice in general, making it much more difficult for me to actually live, or succeed. However, by accumulating these, I will get +1 to dungeon attempts. So when I see something saying this, +1 to dungeon attempts, I would think I would get to attempt the dungeon more than once. If I had 3 of these, I would get to attempt the dungeon 3 times. Makes sense, right? You get +1 to dungeon attempts. But what it really means is +1 to dungeon rolls. So basically, if you were to roll something, you roll this, you get a 3, then you get a 4 instead. You get 4. And then if you have 4 of these, you get +4. And that's what it's meant to mean. It's just a little bit confusing. And I just think this is a little bit of a, hey, maybe we could have worded that better. Maybe this is a little bit confusing. This is how it's meant to be read. You get +1 to dungeon attempts, meaning that you get +1 to your rolls. And here's something else that I kind of find a little bit... Inside this game, you get like 5 dungeon tiles, right? 5 dungeon tiles. And then you get 12 town tiles. But for some reason, they give you these two. So inside the game, once you accumulate 3 of these secrets, you may use it to unveil this, which is the Vault of the Dragons. So how this works is that if you have 3 secrets, you can go here for free instead of the Yawning Portal. Instead of the Yawning Portal, over here, right? And this is what I mean by dungeon temps, which got me confused, unless you read this particular rule page. So like, over here, the Yawning Portal allows you to pay gold per follower to move to a dungeon. Or you can pay 1 magic item to go to the dungeon. Or you can pay 2 rumors to go to a dungeon. However, you may only use 1 of these per turn. So at any given game state, you may only move to the dungeon 3 times. Which is where this gets a little bit confusing, because you think, oh, maybe I can go again if I had this. Which is, you know, it makes sense. In my head, it made a lot of sense. But then when I read the rulebooks, it's like, okay, so that's what they really meant. And I just feel this part could have been worded better. But I digress onto this part. So inside this game, they give you 2 of these, which is really odd. Because inside the game, once someone reveals this, if they were to reveal this with their 3 secrets, they can enter it for free for 3 secrets. However, you can also enter it via one of these means, if you do not possess 3 secrets, because you don't want to demerit. By having 2 of these, you think, alright, so maybe there's 2 vaults. Maybe it's for a longer game, I don't know, I'm not too sure. Like, there'd be a tie, why not 3, because I'm best of 2, you know? But no, this is just for an extra, you know? Like, all the things they give you 1 extra of these. I can see it happening. Maybe someone goes to the bathroom, takes a huge dump, and was like, oh, I'm sorry, man, it was in my pocket and it fell down the toilet. And then you're like, oh, it's okay, because like we have a fucking another one of these. Moving on to magic items and treasure. So, inside this game, there are 2 main types of items that will add to your dice roll. So there are magic items, and then there are treasure cards. Magic items can only be equipped to people, our treasure cards can be used as a once-off. So these can be used persistently most of the time, and these can be used as a once-off most of the time. I have to explain how the dice work. In this game, you get 3 classes. There's going to be a wizard, there's going to be a warrior, then there's going to be a rogue. Each one costs different. Warriors are 1, rogues are 2, and wizards are 3. Wizards have a D12, warriors have a D10, rogues have a D4. Now you roll this, doesn't matter how many people you have, you only roll 1 dice for each class. And if you have a wizard, so let's say I had like 4 wizards, I can reroll any surplus wizard. So I would just take like, okay, I'm going to reroll this D12 3 times until, alright, if I'm happy for a certain number, I'd be like, okay. Moving on over here. When you equip these items, it says, the Great Slayer Axe on the left features a fighter icon in the upper left. Okay, so this is the fighter icon. There'd be a rogue icon, there'd be a wizard icon. So you have 3 warriors, you can equip 3, but 1 warrior may not equip 3 items. So you must have a fighter present to use the axe, but you may use it with any type of dice. Now you read it. It says, play to reroll a d10. Result of 5 or less. Now in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so if I roll a d10, and it's 5 or lower, I can re-roll it. Makes sense, right? But then I read it and it says you can use it for any type of dice, and you're thinking maybe I can use it for the rogue as well, for the d12, or like I can use it for the d12. This is a d4, sorry, or a d12 with a wizard. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's just maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong and not interpreting the rules correctly. But then you read the next part. Then it says, on the other hand, the flame tongue adds 2 plus 2 to a fighter's d10 attack dice, so may only be used if you've chosen a d10 as your attack dice. Play to add 2 to a roll of a d10. What the fuck? It's like, did anyone even read this before they even published it? It was like, where are you guys? Like, hey sir, so I'm at the item part, and it's like, I'm not too sure what these items do, but is this okay? And he's like, nah man, you did something wrong. Oh really? I thought it meant like this one means I have to like I can reroll a d10. And he's like, no, you can reroll any dice. Wait, what, are you sure? And he's like, yeah man, don't you see it? And then this guy is like, oh my god, I don't want to get fired. So I was like, oh yeah, sir, you're right, I'm so stupid. And he's like, oh, it's okay man, that's why I'm in charge. Wizards tend to be very good with their products. I like Lords of Waterdeep, I like Tyrants of the Underdark, but this is just, it's like they didn't really care, you know? Like, it's a great game as well. That brings me on back to my next point. Like, this is not a bad game by any means. If you play with the standard rules, it's a terrible game. It's mediocre at best. It's very slow to get going. It's very hard to get your warriors amassed, and it's just like a race. It's not even a race. It's like a sluggish race. It's like you're like walking through a swamp. Just trying to get like the higher dice rolls. So that's why you should add in these variant rules, because I played the game once, and I did not enjoy it at all. But then I read on Reddit, and then he said, oh, try these variant rules, because that makes the game fun. I was very skeptical, but come on, I paid $50 for this game. I might as well give it another shot, right? And to my surprise, the game got really good. It's not very bad. It's actually it's a good game. So here's something you should be doing. So add in this rule, rumor spreads. Basically, rumors add +1 to any dice roll. Like inside the secrets, these things can only be used in dungeons. Whereas if you were fighting inside like the town or anything, you can use these rules, or these rumors, to add +1 to your dice rolls. You can use it any time you want, either during a dungeon exploration or during like a brawl inside the city. You can use that. And here's just how it works. So basically, if someone were to explore this particular dungeon, like they got less than 7, they got between 7 and 15, they didn't pass it, we add 1 rumor to this, and a rumor will add +1 to the next person who explores it. And if they fail, we add another rumor, which adds +2, and so on and so forth. So by the 5th one, it'd be +5, so it's much more likely of someone passing this, and we're not going to be stuck on the same flippin' tile the entire time, just trying to amass our dice rolls. Just kind of means that we're not dependent. The game progression is not going to be dependent on dice roll alone. If you add rumors and there's a +1 every single turn, eventually the game will come to a natural end. It's like the game is a good book, you know? You're not stuck on the one page, it's a good puzzle, you're not stuck on the one part, you're figuring it out, and it's just going to progress as well. It's organic, it's really nice, it's really fun. Another thing is fewer locations. So here, it recommends in 2 or 3 player games that you shouldn't use 12. You should use less locations. It doesn't give you a recommended by any means. It just says use fewer locations. So I would recommend to you to use 9 locations. I don't care if you're playing 2 or 3 or 4. Always use 9. There's no reason to use more than 9. The reason is because if there are 4 players, then you will add 2 guards. And now there's 4 players, 2 guards, inside the dungeon, inside the city. And that means there's only 3 areas not being used. And this gives you some leeway to strategize yourself, you know? And there's and there's more conflict. Because you're always thinking, okay, I'm gonna move these 2 guards over here, I'm gonna contest this guy over here. Whereas if there's more tiles, it's gonna be like, alright, he's getting that, there's no reason for me to fight him and risk not getting a resource, I'm just gonna go to a different place. And it becomes very passive, you know? So there's no reason to have more than 9. I think 9 is a sweet spot. 8 might be at borderline a bit too little. The game should have had just 9 tiles, you know? Anyway, another thing, or the last thing that I would say, well, there's the increased profit. So every round you add gold to an unused location, making it more profitable to go to the location. So if there's one location that isn't very popular, it becomes popular over time, because then you're thinking, okay, so this current location wasn't as good at the beginning of the game, but now it's become very profitable, and it's only a once-off. So should I take it now, prioritize the short gain while I still can, or should I just continue on doing what I'm doing? Shuffle all locations. Shuffle all locations, I think this is something that should be here. It should be an alternate rule. It shouldn't be something that should already be in the game. These 2, I think, should be inside the main game, along with a third one, which I'll tell you about in a couple of seconds. But shuffling the locations means just like having random. You're good at the game, you're like, okay, I'm just going to do this, it's a different experience every time, it's not going to be the same setup, there's no one that's going to be like, they just learn the patterns of the game, which ones is the best to get. That's why you should have fewer locations that are random, you should have shuffling all the locations as well. The last thing that you need is the action-packed rule. Now, normally, you can only use 1 action per turn. Action-packed means you can use 2 actions per turn. However, the downside, the catch, is that you may only use the second action to move or hire a certain troop. So this just means you're amassing your army. You're like, okay, so I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna grab I'm gonna make 1 gold, and I'm gonna use it to buy my warrior. I'm gonna use it to buy my wizard. And now you want to fight me, I'm already bolstered over here, so you can move your stuff over here, but I'm already strong here. But then you can use 2 actions to move an army towards him. And it just makes the game flow a lot faster, it makes it end a lot more organically. And there's less downtime as well, because, to be honest, 1 action per turn, Gets really slow, especially when you have to be like, okay, it's your turn, it's your turn, it's your turn, whereas you can just do 2 things, 2 things, 2 things, 2 things, then 1 thing, 1 thing, 1 thing, 1 thing, to make the 5 actions, and then you're done the round. It makes it go a lot faster. To end this, I would say that Vault of the Dragons is by no means a bad game. It's an amazing game if you add in the variant rules, if you add in the fact that you know how you're playing. I would not recommend it if you're just buying it, have no idea what the hell's going on. With me, it only got fun when I read through the Reddit. If I read through the rules and I understood it, then I just had to find all the nuances, find the contradictions, find all the places where they're not explaining it very well. But if you have someone who knows the game, definitely get it. But at the moment, I do not think it's worth 50 euros. If you're gonna pay 50 euros for this brand new game, get Lords of Waterdeep and the expansion or something. Do not buy this just yet. At least until they fix the rulebook, you know? Like, it's such a shame. It's such a decent game, and it's gonna be putting a lot of people off because they don't really know how to play. They don't know how to make it fun. It's like they got a really good game, and then they made it really stupid. It's like, okay, our customers don't know how to play board games, so we're just gonna make it appeal to everyone, and then they just fucked it up. They made the game super shit. Whereas, if you just add in a couple more variants, you add in a couple more dynamics, it would have made the game much more fun. I don't know what Wizards of the Coast was thinking, but I think they should, like, man up, fix the game, add in a new rulebook, and just be like, alright everyone, we're sorry, this was a huge oversight on our part. If you're into Dungeons & Dragons, the team, and then you love rolling dice, definitely go for it. Well, that's it for me, everyone. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Tabletop Unboxing. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That would really help, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this game as well. Well, until next time, I'll see you later, guys. See ya!